Greetings, beautifuls. Beautiful people, beautiful souls. Welcome to an experiment. Maybe the first and the last. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go, which is why I'll just do it on the fly. Because it's really about essence. And I don't want to give too much time for my mind or my feeling and my body to intercept. So sit down, relax, and let the sun shine a little bit. We might be here for some time, I really don't know. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a master. And let me tell you, even people who think they are masters on this planet really have a lot to learn. You can raise your serpents, but it's about the same as a baby standing up. The universe is so infinite. We are one here together, learning together, teaching and learning together. But I've come to a point where it's almost, I won't be able to say much more soon. And that my own particular path will be a little bit different. So as I'm on this juncture, it's Independence Day today, right? So I thought, okay, let's play a little game. I don't ask you to believe anything in this video. Definitely not. And I'll tell you from the offset, because there's this thing in the universe called the law of confusion, some things I say might not be true. But I will say them in hope that everyone can tune in to what is right in their own heart. I will just like to present some ideas that I don't think we tune into much these days. We'll go on a little cosmic journey together. Let's start with a question. Who made all this beautiful stuff? It's so easy to say God. But what if I told you God didn't make all this stuff? Maybe a part of God did. Maybe a very small part did. Who collected all of these incredible species of plants from all around the cosmos, from different planets? Who brought them all here to Gaia, to Earth? Who planted them and made this garden? What if I told you a part of myself, and maybe yourself, actually remembers bringing certain things here? Not only plants, but animals. Just what if game? What if a part of the intelligence of the universe decided it wanted to make a type of sanctuary? I don't know the right word for it. Not a zoo, but a haven. A collection of all of the different species that one could find on all of the different planets throughout the solar system, throughout many solar systems. Wouldn't we like to do that? Don't we go around and pick flowers and stick them in a book and collect things? There's this idea, you see, that in the universe, thanks to the law of seven, Prime Creator is indeed in all things, no doubt, but is not directly responsible for the creation of Earth. In fact, not even the Logos, but a sub-Logos named Yahweh. Very far away from the Prime Creator. Let's just say that he decided one day to create the most beautiful Eden. A collection of species. To capture the beauty and the uniqueness of all of these individual types of life. And not only plants, but animals, which, you can believe me or not, I remember bringing here as part of my duty, I guess. Loving duty. And a certain Eden was created. And man and woman was placed here to tend the garden. Take care of it. Let's just say Yahweh's thumbs were a little bit big for the details, you know. So, life was very nice. The garden was so beautiful. But there was a catch, as there always is. there was a little catch, that Yahweh did not want to give the man and the woman free will, as he had and all other cosmos creators, sub-logos, had the free will to create. He didn't want to give them the free will. It was a choice, and it was a divine choice, by the way. And Eden lasted a very, very long time. But nothing changed. All served Yahweh as the prime creator, not knowing that he was only the collector. But let us say that Yahweh is beautiful. And you must understand, and I'll hint this here, that the man and the woman were an extension of Yahweh, not separate from. They lived by essence alone. There was no corruption within the body, within the feeling, and within the mind. All was to serve Yahweh. But Yahweh saw other sub-logos, you could say, in the cosmos start to evolve and move into higher densities of life. There was one called Ra, and there was one called Lucifer, and there were others, and they were all progressing. Slowly but surely they were progressing back into union with the prime creator. And as beautiful as his Eden was, nothing changed. So Yahweh began to think, okay, how can I do something about this? And way above these sub-logi, there's a higher intelligence again. For now, we can call them the council. And a decision was kind of made, I guess as it is with all teachers in school when someone's a little bit behind in class, that their picture book and their art was great, but they needed a little bit of a help. They needed a little bit of a push in order to move out of the stagnation, although it was incredibly beautiful. So an agreement was made by higher density beings we must understand that everything in the universe has a polarity to it. They were watchers, you could say, that came, and some were good and some not so good. But the agreement made was for a catalyst, something that would speed up the evolution of Yahweh. And you must understand, Yahweh and his people were one in the same way as the cells in your body are one with you. And the idea was to give a negative option, a free will choice. And Yahweh wasn't so happy about this. And to be honest, he said, they won't take the choice. They won't do against me. They love it so much. But here's the thing. When the serpent entered the garden, when Lucifer, who was a higher density being, a light being, came to be of service, not as evil, but to provide an option of free will, as they had developed very high with the idea of free will, and all of the other sub-logos has evolved with free will, they took the bait. And Yahweh was a little bit annoyed about this situation. Because he was pretty sure that no one would go against the essence. And Lucifer took on a task of opening the eyes of men and women, that they may see good and evil. Where before they only knew good, they only knew essence, but could not grow. They had no free will. Lucifer, and you could say the Watchers, descended. And there was a bit of a little problem. All they had to do was give the option, but after the option was taken, the choices that were made were actually inside the people. That negative action, first to catch and eat fish, then the eating of meat, then the idea of sacrifice and war and science and ownership. You see, Lucifer never told anyone to be an evil guy. He said you have the choice to use your mind, to use your feeling, and to use your body, not in the service to the essence, but in the service of what you want to do. Recognizing that inside those people was also Prime Creator. But after being in a bit of a box for a very, very long time, people wanted to let their hair down. It's always that kind of problem, you know. If you introduce something gently, but when you never have it and then you have it, people get a little bit drunk. A little bit like when we had a mobile phone or technology. We can't put the thing down. And the idea of free will spread for a very long time and caused a lot of problems. Now, let's just say Yahweh was a little bit ticked off. And we had the whole there is no other God but me situation. But people started to realize. And they also liked Lucifer very much. They really liked to bite the apple, you know. But let's bring in this story to this present moment. Today is Independence Day. What does it mean to be independent? Inside us there is essence. And we have 3 vehicles. But over time we've allowed that independent choice to crystallize in the idea of an identity within our mind, within our feeling, and within our body. But you have to understand one thing. Lucifer never came to make the world evil. He came to give us the comparison of choice. Do you want to follow the essence or not? The or not is simply, it doesn't mean it's the right way. It means that the evolution of the planet then had a catalyst, because then Yahweh and his soul could move in the direction of free will, of choosing to live in the light. Where before, it was not possible to choose. It was forced. It was a kind of like a benign dictatorship in a certain sense. But like I say, when you give something like free will to someone that never had it, they rejoiced and rebelled in a certain way against the actual, not prime creator, but the maker of the garden. But why am I telling you this message today? Throughout time, you could say, there has been certain interventions because this act of free will still exists. It is up to each and every part to choose to live from essence or to live from the temptation. The temptation of other, the temptation of separation, the temptation of serving oneself rather serving the whole. And until we pass through this, we'll stay here. But I want to start to talk a little bit about forgiveness, because many don't understand that we are Yahweh. Now what happened? Yahweh was very angry at Lucifer, and he cast him and bounded him in the lower astral planes. But what that really means in our body is he bounded the temptation within the mind. He bounded the temptation within the feeling. He bounded the temptation within the body. He didn't want it to go back. It's a love-hate relationship, you know. We hate the medicine, but we also need it. Within the teachings of Gnosis, it is said that Lucifer is just the sexual impulse. But every time a nerve ending in the brain fills with a thought of creation, there is nothing wrong with the idea of creation. You could say the choice comes down to whether that creation comes from essence or comes from the mind. The desire of the mind, the desire of the feeling, the desire of the body, all can create, but without essence, you see. We must be careful not to set up a duality inside us. Yahweh and Lucifer coexist right here, right now. And not as some just metaphysical kind of, I don't know how to describe, like myth, but actually see, this brings me to what is self-remembering. But could we self-remember without Lucifer? Master Samael says that generally people's consciousness is 3% awake. But does that mean Lucifer rules, 97% of our actions? How people regard us? What do people think about us? Am I right? Am I wrong? Can I win? But what happens when 100% of the consciousness takes the free will choice, which allows it to grow, allows it to develop, allows it to move into higher densities of existence, allows it to move back on the journey? Now, what is interesting is the universe is a kind of fractal, and it is possible for an individual not only to make that choice, but to move through 4th density, 5th density, 6th density, you see. You could say parts of me, yeah, let's go here. You could say that parts of me, parts of you, exist in a future. What if we was to just say that maybe it was your essence is really your highest self? And then when you really live from the knowledge of essence, many timelines, many sub-logos timelines, much information from other social memory complexes become available to you, because you are those things. But in order to know them, one has to expand their self. Into different dimensions. Sometimes there's just one leaf that sees the sun, and it lets everyone else know about it. You would be quite surprised how much influence how much influence has been bestowed on us for so long for us to see. But you could also say that Lucifer has done a really good job. Or you could say maybe Yahweh, who is ourself, went a bit too far with the whole free will game. Overshot it a bit. Master Samael says that forgiveness is the end of karma. And the real question is, can we forgive ourselves? Can we forgive, or we don't want to forgive our own creation? We don't want to take responsibility for the world that we've created. We're expecting someone to come and fix it. But the very person coming to fix it is the very choice and the free will that we have to change it. Or will we just refuse? That's up to you. I'm not here to tell you. I'm just saying today is Independence Day. And we can take all of this story and meditate deeply on it. Is it not true in a certain sense that sometimes the most negative thing in our life has become the greatest teacher? Is it not true that the exposition of all of the terrible things that we've done on this planet to ourselves is coming to light, and therefore it seems like there's this kind of mass awakening? But I tell you, if that awakening is simply towards a more, how do I say, 5-star spiritual mind, luxury, comfort of the body, of the feeling, different types of security for the body, then maybe we're not actually awakening essence, and we're just kind of refining the ego to still be selfish, but just not as selfish. But I hope you can end this little video with a meditation and to search inside yourself and to see Lucifer there in the mind saying, come on, come and bite me, give me a thought, let's go, let's create something for ourselves. Or the feeling, come on, let's write some spiritual, let's do things that feel spiritual, and but whatever you do, feel it. Don't see that essence. Don't you take the responsibility. Or in the body, the same. Or what does it feel like when we just tune in to being? And to live from our being, who really did create all of this garden. We are responsible for it. Because we made it. And if we choose to sulk a little bit because there are many other sub-logos that decided from the very beginning, such as the Venetians, and to give their people free will from the very beginning, and it seems to be a better choice. Let's be honest, it was a better choice. They evolved much more quickly and with a lot less problems. Because it's always that way. It's always like that. Whatever you avoid today will come back tomorrow tenfold. And whatever you give today will come back tomorrow tenfold. I heard someone recently talk about manifestation. But whose manifestation? Lucifer's manifestation? But don't be blaming that guy. Don't blame the medicine. And also don't blame Yahweh, yourself, for making a choice and going with it. That's how the universe is learning. Give our respect to ourselves as a collective and know that the Prime Creator also realized that masters on this planet, they're not that great masters yet, you know? Okay, they can still the mind and enter samadhi and not get into too much of a pickle. And they've recognized the eternal self, right? But some may even see that as selfish. I spoke to someone recently, they said, yeah, a person who's isolated, they're very selfish. What about a different possibility? What about we take the responsibility for our own choices? The lecture that I've linked with this video is astounding. It's really it. And I've been speaking to people recently, and it seems to just be part of the timing. It seems to be part of the timing that somehow inside us, inside Yahweh, inside us all as a collective, there starts to be this moment where we can start to see the eternal, the real eternal, and the temporal, the being and the image, and see the beauty, but also not be so identified with it. Can we truly live from essence? What is it like that 100% of our consciousness remembers itself? Can we, as Yahweh, release Lucifer from the lower astral? By the way, many people go in the astral in their dreams and there's temptation there. Who do you think put it there? Don't shoot the messenger, you know. But can we release, in the present moment, the need of that temptation in our mind, in our hearts, and in our body? Can we allow Lucifer to go home now, please? Ascend back to 6th density light. Thank you, but on your way. We got it from you guys and girls. Or do we keep walking the spiritual path, thinking that we follow essence, but yet we close our eyes and see nothing but temptation? Master Samael says, those that awaken here will awaken in all planes. Anyway, guys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed this little monologue. And yeah, it's our choice. It's our choice. To forgive ourselves. To learn. And to take responsibility for ourselves. And that responsibility comes down to self-remembering. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. But if we really self-remember, we get the whole picture again. Let's not allow that catalyst to go to waste. And let us remember that that catalyst, that didn't create the horrible things we see in the world. We did it when we decided to go against the unity, when we wanted to be more powerful than our neighbor. Many people can say, or can see it, that, you see, that having that choice, it was the choice that made us evil. No. It was the choice that showed us where we were. And it's the choice that we face every single day. It's the choice that shows us who we really are, moment by moment by moment. To live, to remember, to be humbled, to understand, in fact, Yahweh is us. Of course he's a jealous God, aren't we? Wouldn't we all be annoyed if we just spend all day building the most beautiful thing, and then a part of ourselves comes and kicks it down? Don't we do that in our relationships? Or don't we build things up only to rip them down some other day? Until we remember ourselves, we'll keep doing it. But you have to remember that it was us that brought all of this beauty here. So, my dream, I guess, is, can we bring back Eden, but we have the choice of unity, the choice of being awakened. That is up to you. Love and light to you all, my friends.